Directing traffic, gonna go deep, has a man deep, it is caught for the touchdown, Corey Davis!
What does he do? Attacks leverage. If he's outside leverage, he doesn't want you to beat him outside. So stem towards him, hold him outside, stab outside. Drive face, full cell vertical, get into the blind spot, and he absolutely burns it. Corner is lost. He literally has no idea where Wilson is.
Long, fast, how he approaches the game, how dedicated he is to football. He's ridiculously good, man. You have to be ecstatic.
This is actual film. This is actual football talk. It's a football show. We're supposed to talk football, not storylines.
And you are listening / watching to another edition of Blue Blitz, a post-game edition of Blue Blitz. The last time I did this, I was much more frustrated. Still frustrated in general about this game, and we'll go over why exactly. So hello to the people who are in here. I think there's like 4 or 5 people in here. I know there's a ton. Yeah, see, like this right off the bat that we need a quarterback bad. I don't know how you watch that game and watch what Mike White just did and say we need a quarterback. That's just, I don't know if you're box score scouting. I don't know if you were just looking at the fact that he didn't have any touchdowns, but that was one of Mike White's better games. I was much more impressed this game, or at least initially, I'm more impressed this game than I was last game for Mike White. Just the resolve he had to come back from multiple shots to the ribs, probably at least bruised a rib, if not broke a rib. That hurts ridiculously bad. I don't think people who have never bruised a rib realize how bad that hurts. And now the Jets are in a tough spot. Like, I didn't think they were necessarily going to win that game. It hurts the fact that the refs listen, like, and it's, I guess we are those people at this point now, but it's like, how many times was Bryce Huff held in that game? You know, it was fucking ridiculous. How many times he was held and it just wasn't called. You had a JJ play, which I put up on Twitter, where he's clearly grabbed by, I think Spencer Brown was the right tackle. They didn't call that. You have multiple times where Mike White's getting drilled where he's not getting penalties. You have multiple, PIs that are, I guess, deserved by the Jets, but if they're not going to call them for the Jets on the offensive side of the ball, that was frustrating. The offensive line was absolute buns today. The running game was non-existent, minus, Zonovan Knight creating for himself. Michael Carter is a guy who we've been talking about. Both Michael Carters were duds today. Michael Carter, the second, got called for 2 holds in this game. You also had Michael Carter, the running back, who, listen, like this year, and I've been saying it for weeks now, and it's kind of starting to formulate itself among Jets Twitter and among other streams or whatever. Like Michael Carter, the running back, is struggling this year. Minus a play or 2 versus the Bills, what impressive runs he had this year. Last year, he had a ton of really good plays. This year, he's not really creating. He's not really breaking many tackles, and he's had some bad luck with his blocking. But the Jets are driving. There's 4 minutes left in the game or something like that. He runs for what would be a first down inside the Bills' green zone, at least, which is inside the 40, right? I don't know, it was like around like the 30, 25, wherever that was exactly. And he fumbles the ball. Like, Michael Carter has been struggling this year, to say the least. And I think next year, based on the way that Zonovan Knight's playing, he's going to easily be number 3, who's not really seeing a lot of touches. So he has fallen from grace quite a bit this year. So that was disappointing. And then Michael Carter, I think I already talked about this, but he got Michael Carter the second, 2 holding calls, beat on third down multiple times. He was beat on third down last week. He's been struggling on third down this year. And then I think the first drive for the Bills, the first drive of the game, he slips and Diggs could have had, a 40, 50-yard gain, if not a touchdown. So the Michael Carters were terrible this game. The offensive line was god-awful. Mike White early, he missed a couple of, and I'll go over some stuff specifically. I wrote some stuff down. I had an idea I would stream after this because the wife's away. So I'll watch Red Zone and talk to you guys for a little bit. But he struggled a little bit early. Like, the first ball was behind Conklin. He missed Elijah Moore on the screen, but he had some big time throws to Davis and Wilson on third down in the first quarter. Then he missed Uzama. He took a sack ring to get rid of the ball. That was a little bit frustrated. But there was the play where he had the seed to Elijah Moore, huge hit by Oliver there, out for 2 plays. Then he came back in, had a huge 3rd and 10 conversion to Garrett Wilson. He forced the ball after to Conklin. Like, I'll go over a little bit more after that, but I specifically wrote stuff down, which I don't want to just go through it segmented like that. But I want to say hello to some people, see who's in here. It's a little bit more crazy when you just do it kind of spur of the moment live streams. I don't know who's necessarily going to join, but I see like almost 100 of you in here. That's good. Marvin Gunn. Yeah. It's frustrating because now we know that the Jets, listen, at the end of the day, like this win would have really put the Jets in good position for the playoffs. I didn't expect them to go to Buffalo and win. We like the fact that they competed in this game, and there is no such thing as a moral victory, but they at least competed. So okay, we can take solace in that, I guess, if that's even a word. I don't know if it is. The thing that's frustrating is, okay, they compete, but my mind still is going back to both Pats games and that Vikings game. Like if you win that game, this game isn't as brutal, because now at the end of the day, the Jets have to win 3 out of the next 4. And the Lions, who just beat the Vikings, who we lost to last week, they almost beat the Bills. Like the Lions are, if not a good team, at least a mediocre team. So it's a game you should win if you want to make the playoffs, but it's not an easy win versus the Lions. But you have to beat the Lions, you have to beat the Jaguars, and then you have to beat one of the Seahawks or the Dolphins. Like, listen, after the bye, great. The Jets haven't been great. They lost to the Vikings, they lost to the Bills, they lost to the Patriots, they beat the Bears. So in that 4-game quarter of the season, that third quarter of the season, the Jets are 1-3 when you're fighting for the playoffs. November, December football, the Jets are 1-3. So they have to finish strong going into mid to late December and into January, because if they don't, they're not going to make the playoffs. And if they don't beat the teams like the Lions and the Jaguars at home, they don't deserve to make it. But you win a game like the Patriots, one of those games, you win a game like the Vikings, you're playing with a little bit of house money, where this game isn't like a must to win, which I don't think this game was necessarily a must win. It'd been a huge win. The next 2 games are absolute must wins. You lose one of the next 2, you're not mathematically out of it, because technically you could win the Seahawks and the Dolphins game, but that's a really tough spot. So to win what? Or to lose 4 out of 5 games and then still make the playoffs late in the season. So tough, Paul. I completely agree. Mike Carter, both Michael Carter suck this game. And Michael Carter II has been good this season in general. He's a solid slot corner, but he gets beat on third down a lot. I feel like in a lot of my reviews, I'm talking about him getting beat on third down. Last week, he even had a bracket inside with Whitehead, who came down late, but he got beat inside. This game got beat by Diggs. He had multiple holding calls in this game. So he's been struggling on third downs. I think teams are starting to target him. You saw the Bills clearly go at him at least 3 or 4 times on third down, because he's just struggling at that point in the game. He's definitely the weakest corner the Jets has. So what did Jack ask about people saying we need a quarter? Like, I don't know the stats, and obviously he didn't throw for a touchdown, and I'll never agree, or I didn't agree. It's not Monday morning quarterbacking in terms of Saleh not going for it on 4th and 1, which, by the way, it was 3rd and 1 with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Can we stop going to Barrios? Like, I gotta see that replay again if it hit him in the chest or the face mask, but the ball hit him in the face pretty much, and he dropped the ball. Like, the guy is not a clutch catcher, and that was kind of one of the things that was swirling around last week. Always reliable hands. Show me when. He had drops his rookie year. He had drops his second year. He's not a reliable receiver. He doesn't have reliable hands. Just because he gets maybe 5, 6, 7 targets and he catches the balls that are wide open, doesn't make it reliable. Like, his hands are not reliable at all. They never have been. So that's the thing that's crazy. Yeah, Monday morning quarterback. Which, by the way, I'm not going to say where, who, what, when, or whatever. But I think I saw a Monday morning quarterback tweet or response to some of my stuff, and it's the guy's like, oh, you can't. The guy doesn't know what the reads are, or can't tell where the quarterback is looking. You can tell where the quarterback is looking on the all 22 from the end zone angle. You can match his back foot, his shoulders, and his eyes to where he's looking. And if you study concepts in the NFL, you can know where they're looking. But I guess that just goes so far over people's heads. They just have no idea what a concept is or where to look on concepts. So it was one of the more dumb comments I've ever seen. I chose not to respond, but I'll respond on my show, because it was really, really dumb. You're saying you don't know where guys looking, you don't know where the reads are. You could some plays you don't know where the reads are, but a lot of them, if you know offensive concepts, you could see that based on, okay, the inside guy is going to be 1, the outside guy is going to be 2. Oh, look, he's looking at the 1, he's looking at the 2. Okay, those are his reads. It's not just like, oh, screenshot, this guy is open, and we have no idea what the reads were. Maybe study. Like, the fact that went so far over somebody's head that they couldn't even comprehend somebody knowing what the reads are just shows the lack of knowledge some people on YouTube really have. So it was on YouTube. I gave that away, but Jesus, dude, I saw that. I was like, really? Like, that's your response? But these refs were ridiculous. Yeah. They missed at least 2 or 3 holds on Huff. I put up the play on Twitter of I don't know if you guys can see this. Let's see if I can put it. Oh, let me see. It doesn't. I'll try to show it. Let's see if you can see this. Can I play it again? Yeah, watch. Oh, damn it. Hold on. Let's see if I can skill this real quick. Okay. Watch Jermaine Johnson versus the right tackle. Oh, son of a. Oh. Nope, no holding there. There's no holding. He just ripped him to the ground. And then there's another play where Michael Carter, one of Michael Carter's penalties, which should have been offsetting because Nathan Shepard got fucking tackled in the backfield. It's like, what are the like? It's crazy how many holdings they missed this game. What a tough one. Yeah, it was tough. What would you say is the number one reason we lost? Offensive line. The pass protection was absolutely brutal. So, fuck, it's really hard to give. It's really hard to give one reason. I would say in order. Offensive line is probably 1. The Michael Carters are probably 2. The refs are probably 3. CJ Mosley is another reason we lost. Like, dude, it's 4th and 1 from the Bills' 40-yard line. They have 60 yards to go. It's been a defensive possession game. It's 0-0 in the elements. They're 99% going to punt there, and he gets got and jumps over the fucking line, and then they get an encroachment and have to and the Bills drive before the half and get a touchdown. So for a veteran to make that play was absolutely brutal by Mosley there. So I would say offensive line, Michael Carter's, refs, and CJ Mosley are the biggest reason. Mike White is a beast. Yeah, the resolve this kid the kid showed is ridiculous. Like, dude, how many big shots is he gonna get? And the one stat was, where was it? I don't have it for the end of the game. I know he got pressured like 16 times late in the game, but where the hell is the stat? I have it somewhere in here. Son of a bitch. I know I have it. So I believe the stat was, and when I find it later in my notes, because they're all just a jumbled mess right now. He had 16 dropbacks late in the first half. He was pressured on 12 of those and hit 3 times. So he's getting pressured on 12 of 16 dropbacks. It's snowing / raining. I'm sure it's windy out, which I'm sure he won't play in post game. But he's getting absolutely rocked with no offensive line, with receivers dropping balls, with no penalties being called. Probably has bruised ribs, and we're asking for another quarterback. He went like, again, I'm not a stats guy, but he went like something like 22 for 32 for like 300 yards, and got absolutely demolished and got pressured on pretty much every single one of his dropbacks. Like, what were his final numbers? Let's see. Bills, Jets, box score. Or somebody could drop in the chat, maybe. Actually, let me pull up my YouTube. Somebody drop it in the chat for me, so I don't have to go and look for it. But like, we're blaming Mike White for that game. How are we blaming you? If you're blaming Mike White for that game, I'm sorry. You must not know anything about football, and you must just Google stats and say 0 touchdowns. Oh, he sucks. Like, how can you blame Mike White for that at all? He gets injured. Multiple huge 3rd down conversions that are seeds from not even 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 10 on the sideline. All this stuff drives down late in the game to 3rd and 1. I'll never agree with, again, solid punting there or kicking a field goal on 4th and 1. 3rd and 1 hits Barrios in the face, drops the ball. The drive before that, they're driving down the field after he comes back from an injury. Michael Carter fumbles the ball. Like, we're blaming Mike White for that game? Okay, Seamus. So there's actually more throws than I thought. 27 for 44, 256. And on those 44 dropbacks, he was dropped, or he was sacked what? 3-4 times, right? 3-4 times, and probably hit past that 20 times. Like, he got demolished this game. We're blaming Mike White? Come on, and you lose, but which, by the way, Flacco comes in for 2 plays, right? Or he comes in for multiple plays. The first play comes in, misses Conklin up the seam. Next play comes in, strip sack. Like, Joe Flacco is like the epitome of like a guy who does not want to play against the elements, does not want to take a hit, fades out of throws. He's collecting a paycheck. Like, he has no drive, to me. So I cannot wait. Flacco needs to be gone. Joe the GOAT, happy with Mike White. The refs hate us, I guess. But yeah, and obviously if Quinn Williams injury, George Fant go down, Max Mitchell blood clots, obviously you pray he's okay. But yeah, the injuries were bad. Now obviously Q goes down non-contact and it's a calf injury. Now I'm not a medical expert in any sense of the imagination, but you're hoping it's not like a torn calf or something. I don't know if you can even tear. Like, I guess you could tear your calf, right? Because it's a muscle. But hopefully he's not out for a while, because the Jets need him against the Lions, who have a good offensive line. They need to win these next 2 games. Mike says, I admire what he did, his toughness, but the end results aren't good enough. They're not good enough, but it's not squarely on. It's not on him. Like, you cannot look at this game and say Mike White did not play, or he didn't play well. Like, again, I'll literally read what I wrote for Mike White. Mike White. First ball, what was behind Conklin? He missed more on a screen.
He had big time throws to Davis and Wilson on third down early in the game. He missed Uzama, I guess, a couple plays after that. He took a sack where he needed to get rid of the ball. Then he threw a seed to Moore where he took a huge hit by Oliver where he's out for 2 plays, comes back in 3rd and 10, huge conversion to Garrett Wilson. Out of halftime, he forced the ball to Conklin on the sideline, which I think it was a spin concept over the middle where he forced the ball where it was tight coverage to Conklin, could have hit a guy over the middle there. Then he throws a dot to Wilson on 3rd down with no late hit, which it could have been a late hit there easily. Then he threw a beautiful throw to Berrios on the 3rd down on that wheel where they cleared out the inside and threw a wheel to Braxton Berrios. He had an anticipation throw to Mims over the middle. Then he gets hurt. Flacco comes in, shits the bed like as per usual. He just strip sack and then a 3 and out, or was he in for only 1 drive? I forget. Mike White comes back out of the tunnel, drives down the field. Michael Carter fumble. Next drive, makes some ballsy throws again, gets the Jets to the 5-yard line, throws a seed to Garrett Wilson on 3rd and or to Berrios on 3rd and 1, hits him in the face, hits him in the chest, drops the ball. It was a contested catch, kind of, because it was in between 2 guys, but the ball literally hits him in the chest or the neck area, and he drops it. Like I don't see how he blamed Mike White. He had maybe 1 interceptable ball that I could think of, maybe 1, if even 1. And yeah, he missed the ball or 2 behind a guy. Yeah, he forced the ball to maybe 1 or 2 guys, but against that Buffalo defense, there's no way we could say that. Yeah, we could say the results aren't good enough, but as a team, not for Mike White. Mike White is starting the rest of the year. That was a good game for Mike White. I don't give a shit that he didn't get any what is it called? Any touchdowns. That was a good game by him. That was on the Michael Carters. That was on the offensive line. That was on CJ Mosley. You're going into halftime 0-0 there, most likely. Or if not, the Jets have the ball with a minute-ish left with timeouts and maybe at like the Bills 30-yard line, something like, no, maybe not 30-yard, maybe like 20, 15. But at least at the minimum, it's 0-0. And Mosley jumps offside on 4th and 1 from the Bills 40. And then they drive down the field, obviously. Which, by the way, in terms of like talking about punts, just in terms of them punting the ball there, this is something I've been bringing up for a couple of weeks too. I'm not trying to just be negative on a bunch of people, but Berrios, dude, like he had that nice catch on the wheel. He had a catch or 2 late, but dropped the ball last week, which was behind him. Fine. Dropped the ball on 3rd and 1 this week. His punting, like the most basic shit in punting is you're taught to let the ball bounce over your head or don't take the ball if it's inside the 10 because you're hoping it bounces and gets into the end zone. Anything past the 10-yard line, you're taught to field it. How many balls this year has he let bounce when the ball bounces at the 15-yard line and it rolls to the 2 or the 3-yard line? Like, he's not fielding punts. The one I don't know if he lost the ball. I don't know what happened, but that was almost a fumble by him there. The ball missed him by millimeters on that play. He had a couple nice returns, but he is not worth the $6.5 million he's being paid. Like, he had the nice end around on I think the Packers game this year. The past that, what has Berrios done this year to deserve $7 million, $6.5 million? We said he was deserving of $4 or $5 million. He got overpaid. I'm sorry. I know people love Berrios and, tough white guy Wayne Corbett, which is bullshit. Wayne Corbett had hands of glue. Berrios does not, but Berrios, dude, like $6.5 million, really? Like, what does he do? What is he doing that's special? What is he doing that? Like, he was a good returner last year, but this year, really? I don't know. They really need to cut Joe Flacco today. The dude is walking. Yeah, he doesn't care. He just does not care. It's cold out. We're not going to win. I don't give a fuck. Like, he does not care. Michael Carter's a shell of himself. Yeah, like this year, his rookie year compared to this year, like minus that Bills run where I put it up if you watch the film shows, which shout out to the people who watch the film shows. And this, when he threw like that fake stiff arm and then kept running, really nice play. Past that, what nice plays has Michael Carter had this year? I'll wait. Legitimately, like, I'm not trying to be an asshole. You guys know, like, we're gonna try to keep it as real as possible on the show. What good plays has Michael Carter made this year? Like, we could think of multiple ones of Breece Hall. You could think of multiple ones from Zonovan Knight. Michael Carter has not done anything this year. And yeah, he's got a little bit unlucky where he really hasn't gotten good blocking, but bro. Little Mike White, no QB in history of the game could have made up for that running game. Well, yeah, I'm not going to go that far and say no quarterback could have made up for that, but yeah, it's Mike White had a ballsy performance. That was a good game by him. Cut Flacco and elevate Traveler, and the Mike White goes out of the game. Now we're thinking like, shit, Lions, Jaguars, 2 huge games for the Jets coming up, and is it going to be Zach Wilson now? Like, obviously, they'll probably just shoot up Mike White with something. He'll be playing next week, but Michael Carter fumbles the ball on a critical drive. Donovan Knight doesn't get another snap. No, like Donovan Knight he had no room to run on a lot of these runs because the offensive line was blocking like absolute shit run and pass game. But he's killing it, at least relative to what was expected of him. And you're giving Michael Carter a run. Like Michael Carter is clearly the number 3 next year for me. Like he has lost his spot, one because of poor play and because of how much what's his face has been dominating Donovan Knight. So Jets D is only forced 1 turnover since the break. Yeah, they can't recover fumbles. There's so many like tip balls that are almost picks they can't get. Cutting Flacco is also a stupid take. You guys are so result driven. Yeah, like I don't think he's ever going to see the field anyway. Like at this point, I want to see Zach Wilson as the backup. I think with Mike White getting banged up, I'd rather see Wilson than Flacco because you want to evaluate him, but I don't really care either way. Appreciate that, Rich. Arguing about Flacco, I hate I do hate Flacco's like his lack of giving a shit. I do. One play. No, he had one play. Did he have 3 drives or multiple drives? He had the missed play to Conklin, right? Did he have the fumble lost and a 3-and-out after that, or was it just the fumble lost? I'm misremembering that. But yeah, no, he was not good when he came in. So Corey Davis and Corey Davis starting the game with another false start, dude. Like, and early on, you're in Buffalo, it's raining. You had 2 false starts, right, in the first quarter. You can't get behind the 6 versus Buffalo team. 1st and 15 versus Buffalo, dude. They're a good defense. Like, I don't give a shit what their DVOA is, what their numbers are. When they have Trey White, Matt Milano, Poyer on the field, they're a very good defense. You cannot get behind the 6 versus these guys. So, 2 fumbles lost, yeah. Yeah, Eagle, there are no such thing as a moral victories. Like now, the Vikings game is more frustrating than this game to me. I didn't expect to win this game, but they had a chance. They had a chance, man. It's just the Vikings game, the Pats game might really kill them. Yeah, no, you give the Jets credit for fight, but again, we're at this point, we're not. Well, what are we, 7-6? We're not 4-10. Like there are no moral victories. Like you got to win games, and they have to win 3 out of the next 4. I'll be at the Lions game or at the Jags game. If they lose either one of those games, I think their playoff chances now, per like ESPN stats and info, where the fuck it is like. And sorry, I definitely curse more post game when I'm after losses. So I apologize for that. People listening with kids, but I think they're like a 49% chance now. They have to win next week. Have to. If they lose, again, I think the proper thing is to say, oh, well, there's still a chance if they lose, they can win the next 3. If you lose 4 to 5 games in November, December, probably not happening, buddy. So they got to win. Big game against the Lions. I know the Lions are a different team on the road than home, but they have been competing with some of the best teams in the NFL the last couple of weeks. They are not a pushover. And they just got Jameson Williams back, who got a touchdown. I think it seemed like it was a busted coverage, but this coffee is definitely cold. 4-6? Was it 4-6? Pats loss, Bills win. Pats loss, Bears win. Vikings. I just fucked up my count. I can't even count right now. But yeah, something like that. If it is that, yeah, then yeah. Lions are coming in hot, and I was telling people, like I tweet, or not telling people, I tweeted out like I was rooting for the Vikings because now the Lions are, correct me if I'm wrong, 6-7, right? 6-7, and they have a chance for the wild card in the NFC. The NFC is weak, so they have a chance for it, and now they're coming in thinking they're fighting for their playoff lives, and they're a solid team. Big game next week. Big game. I'd love to have one of these last 3 or 4 games, dude. It's crazy. Let's see. Yeah, see, like Mike. So, like, I listen. Mike White has played. He's played what, 6 games, and I'm not just going to the stats, but like the Vikings game was solid. I gave him a B. The Bengals game last year was probably like a B plus. I think people misremember that Bengals game from him last year. The Bengals game, he had 2 pretty bad picks. The Bears game was definitely solid from him. The Colts game before he was out was solid for him. The Pats game he came in was okay. this game was, I'm going to give it a B plus, probably the type of game I'll obviously to go back and watch, but like he's been playing well. Now he's 26, 27, but like whether, and I'm not, trust me, I'm not advocating right at this very moment to go with him for the next 4 years here. But what are the other options? Is it bring in Aaron Rodgers? Would Aaron Rodgers have won this game for the Jets? Based on the pressure, I don't know. Jimmy Garoppolo, Carr, like the offensive line was shit today. Mike White did everything he could. So this isn't the type of game I watch and say Mike White cannot be the answer for the future, because my answer to the future is obviously I want a superstar stud top 3, top 5 quarterback, but the Jets need an average-ish level quarterback. That was a solid game from White. So hold on a second. I might be okay. So I gotta open the door is locked. I gotta open it for my wife. She's gonna be home. I think I'm going to actually hold on. Know what I'm gonna do? This is what we're gonna do, people. I appreciate there's like 200 people in here. I have a lot more to say and I have a lot more chats to get to. I've missed super chats and stuff so far. So I'm going to look at my doorbell camera. She's gonna get home. I'm going to open the door. I'm gonna move my shit into the other room, and then we're gonna stream for a little bit longer. That's what's gonna happen. So if you just see the camera go off for a second and me get muted, you have to give me like 2 minutes, and then we're gonna keep talking. So the viewers are gonna drop because I know at least 30 of you are impatient, but you're gonna have to wait like 2 minutes and just talk amongst yourselves. So Jets need to win out. No, they need to win three of the next 4. You need the listen. At this point, we're definitely rooting for the Dolphins tonight. I'm sorry, I hate the Dolphins more than any team in the NFL. But you need the Dolphins to lose, and then at that point, the Chargers 1 more loss, and they're at 8 losses. So the Jets at that point can win 10 games and most likely get in. So I think 10 wins does it for the Jets most likely. So you have to win 3 out of the last 4. But it's never easy in the NFL. We just lost 3. We just lost 3 out of the last 4. Now, can you win 3 out of the last 4 and turn it around? At the end of the day, the Jets were 6-3 and needed to go 4-4 in the last 8 games. And right now, they're 1-3 on that needed 4-4 stretch or something like that. I think I just screwed up that math because they have 4 games left, something like that. Right, they were 6-3. They needed to go 6. They were 6-3. Needed to go 4-4, right? Yeah, because that's 9. Yeah, 4-4. Okay. Okay, yeah. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be back streaming. Literally 2-3 minutes. So just give me a couple seconds.
All right, we're back. Had to help her get some stuff in the house because they have like a girls' day. The family does where they make gingerbread houses and shit. So okay, sorry for the wait. Hold on, just plug this in. Normal string spot. Hopefully my settings are good. Let me just check some stuff. I gotta hit the super chats. Gotta talk to you guys for a little bit longer. Settings, audio, microphone. Cool. All right, we're continuing. Rich, see, like 430, no, about 50 dropped. See, impatient. You guys are nuts for not like when Mike White did. Yeah, that game, like that, if anything, was leaning towards the quarterback, not okay, we need to move on. Like I didn't, and usually I agree with a lot of with what Mike says, but that was not a QB purgatory game for me. Like, you don't have a couple fumbles there, you convert in the red zone, Barrios doesn't drop that ball, you're looking at, whatever it is, 30 for 40, 45, 46, a touchdown or two versus a Bills defense in the rain, in the snow. Like that was a franchise quarterback type of game. Let's see. If he came back in this game, I'm assuming he will be, unless like they shot him up with cortisone and he broke his rib. That's the only way. If it's bruised ribs, he's gonna play through it. Dude, like this, like Mike Fragile White, he can play, but Frank, like, listen, I know the whole tank top picture, but I don't think anybody in this chat or any NFL player, regardless if it's Josh Allen or whoever, can get speared while throwing the ball multiple times and get hit on 15, 20 dropbacks, getting absolutely demolished, and he's fragile. If anything, he showed he's the complete opposite of fragile that game. You get speared in the ribs by a guy who's running, 15 miles per hour, 250 pounds pure muscle. Like, what are we talking about? He's fragile? Come on, man. That you guys are better than this. Fragile. He got speared full speed by linebackers. He's fragile with his ribs exposed. Let me just punch you in the ribs. Now make that a linebacker who's 250 pounds in his helmet. Dude, yikes! That's a yikes take. I'm sorry if you're a listener, but I don't care if you're Rich, who's a huge supporter, or Jan, who's a huge supporter. If you put something in the chat that you don't want to get criticized, then don't do it. Not here. Some other live stream, sure. Trust me, I see some really dumb shit on other ones. Now we have to hope the Chargers don't get to 10, or we beat the Jags and Dolphins to beat them in a tiebreaker. Yeah, so I think right now we have the conference tiebreaker over them. Actually, no, we're 5-6. Who are they playing today? Oh, dude, we need the Dolphins to win. I'm sorry. Cheer for the Dolphins tonight. It is what it is. Just cheer for them. We need them to lose 2 more games, and then they're 6-6 right now, right? So if they lose this game versus the Dolphins and 1 more out of their last 4, you're looking at obviously at the best. So we can all do math here, kind of. 9-8 for them. And listen, if the Jets can't win 3 out of the last 4 games, do they deserve to make the playoffs? No. Like, I don't. If they squeak in at 9, like, yeah, obviously we're all excited that they make the playoffs, but like, congratulations, you went at that point. What, we're 1-3. You go 2-2 the last 4, so you went 3-5 down the stretch, right? Is my math wrong? 3-5. Like, and we squeak in, awesome. But they have control of their own destiny for the most part. Just win 3 of the last 4. We need to get Corey Davis. Yeah, dude, Barrios, man. Like, I didn't understand the obsession with him last year. And I said, for the people who are frequent listeners, sign the guy for, $4 or $5 million a year. Because I think I specifically said, like, his special teams last year was worth like $3 million, and then he's a backup slot and gadget guy that's probably worth $1.5 million in the NFL. So pay him 4.5, 5, maybe 6, but like 6.5, 7. It was a little bit of an overpay for Barrios, and this year he's not been what he was last year as a returner. He's a nice end around or two, but don't tell me that Garrett Wilson or Elijah can. I'm not going to say he's up to Barrios' level, but it's not a big enough gap where I need my second guy making that much money on those type of plays, because Garrett Wilson is the best of that. Now, obviously, Garrett Wilson is a guy who you want as a primary target on actual concepts too. So you're not necessarily going to do the gadget stuff with him all the time. So Barrios may be the primary guy, but there's not big enough of a difference between him and Elijah Moore to make it where I want to. 3 plays that killed us. CJ 4th down, Flacco fumble, Michael Carter fumble. Yeah, and like there's some. I'm not going to kill Michael Floyd this game. There was the one play though that
and I got to watch it back. But I think Romo said it. At least he said this. What was the play on third down? But you're going for it on third down, and I want to see the other side of the concept, and maybe Mike White had he adjusted pre-snap, like, oh, CJ Uzama is one-on-one, but CJ Uzama on a comeback on third down, I don't know if I've ever seen Uzama win on a comeback. I don't know if I've ever seen him run a comeback. Maybe it was a curl, not a comeback, because they're obviously different routes, break in, break out. But Uzama, listen, like, he's good for like tight end leaks and screens, stuff like that. In terms of like route running one-on-one versus linebacker versus anybody, I'm not gonna bet on him, depending on obviously who it is. But Tomlinson is Tomlinson is one of the worst signings we've had. I think we're saying this in the JetX chat. He's legitimately the worst signing the Jets have had since Trumaine Johnson. Now, Trumaine Johnson was probably to a little bit of a different level than Tomlinson. But Tomlinson, $15 million for a guard, he is bad, man. He is not good. And I have to go back and watch exactly whose fault it is. But I pulled that one play a couple of days ago on the stream. He makes some mistakes that rookies don't make as a guard in terms of passing stuff off. Constant throws in the dirt, yet he's in the Jets win. I don't know what we're talking about there. If we're talking about Zach Wilson, then like I don't know how can you imagine what Zach Wilson would have done today, getting pressured like that and getting hit like that? We've had 4 yards in the second half. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Watch Zach Wilson direct the path again. Like, if we have to refresh it, let's go back and watch all those throws. I think Ryan, promote him from Jets Talk 24/7. I don't know if he does it for every Zach Wilson game or not, but go back and watch all of his throws from the Pats game. Let's see what he would have done this game. Come on, Braden Mann. Yeah, Braden Mann. And I tweeted out something about him, like his trajectory is just like a straight line. The dude he shanks it all the time. His trajectory, he punts line drives. And then there was that one punt today where he's punting from like, I don't know, somewhere around midfield, and he punts it like down. He punts it like to the one in terms of it bounces initially at the one. You want it to bounce and roll. Like he has no placement at times. He has line drives. He shanks the ball. So for every 60-yard punt that we're, oh my God, it's Braden Mann. Look at his strong leg. He matches that with a line drive, with a terrible place the ball. With he needs to go. He needs to go. Beloved Peace, I appreciate the super chat. Is receiver an underrated need for this team? It seems like Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, when healthy, are the most reliable guys. Not sold on the others. I would say like it's like a secondary need, Beloved, because like to me, I'm okay with Wilson, Davis, and Garrett, and Moore. Like, I'm not giving up on Moore, especially as a top 3 receiver. Like, I still think he's solid there. Obviously, won't get targeted more, etc. But he was fine this game for when he was targeted. He caught the ball. But with that being said, am I okay with Barrios as a 4? I'm not. I don't like Barrios as a 4, and I said that in the offseason. I don't like Barrios as a 4. I want them to add another guy. They didn't, obviously. But Barrios has been more disappointing this year than last year. So I think it's a secondary need. You're not obviously putting up there with linebacker, safety, getting the offensive line rounded out. But have we been impressed when Barrios has been playing in the game? And like Mims, like, dude, like, I know we had a catch or two this game again, but when's the last time he caught a ball with his hands? Like, the guy only can catch with his chest. Now, the one ball was behind him, he had to adjust to it, so I get it, but he consistently catches the ball jumping into his chest. Smoked chicken wings ready. Nice. I had, I don't know, for people who are around here, I clucked you last night. God, my stomach is still killing me. For people who live around here, it's delicious. It's really hit or miss, actually. It's really, really good. Sometimes they're wings. Sometimes they suck. Last night was good, but oh my God, I was hurting at work last night, and I came home, and I was just like, when I woke up, I feel bad for my wife because the bathroom did not good. Mike White definitely got it's basically getting speared by Goldberg with pads and then saying, "Oh, he's fragile." He came back into the game like his ribs were hurt. It's not like he winced and sat down. He had to get evaluated. Like, he got the shit knocked out of him, and we're questioning his toughness and his injuries. Like, what? Okay, yeah, thank you guys. I know I asked this a little bit before. Josh Allen didn't play well. Dude, the elements, like, it's wet, it's rainy, it's cold. To me, like, I rather. At least when I was playing, and we didn't play late into the year. Like, I think Thanksgiving was always our last game, but like, just in general, just talking about weather, I rather have it be 25 degrees and snowing than 35 degrees and raining, like sleeting. Like, I rather have just the snow. So I don't know if that's a coincidence that at first it was raining, second half it was snowing a little bit more, and then they came out and the offense was removing the ball. Obviously, that's a very large leap to make, but dude just gave us a rib and still played good enough. Yeah, like that's listen again. I am not saying that he's a franchise quarterback. That is a franchise quarterback type game, though. This is what, sixth start. He's thrown for 400 yards in almost all of them, minus the games he's coming out of injuries or subbed in. And again, the Vikings game was like a B for me. This game, he got pressured almost every single time he dropped back. Almost every single time. And we're criticizing him. Did he force a ball or two? Maybe a ball or two. Was a ball or two behind a guy? Yeah, maybe a ball or two. But 44 dropbacks, right? Something like that. You guys said 44 dropbacks. How many times was he pressured? How many times was he hit? He might have been hit 75% of those, or pressured on 75% of those. And the other ones, he wasn't pressured because he had to go ball out in a second. So, like, he was not given any support from the offensive line. And the running game in large parts of that game, like the running game was either Zonovan Knight getting 10, 20 yards or absolutely nothing. Like nothing. First and 10, run, second and 10. First and 10, run, second and 10. First and 10, run, second 11. First and 10, run, second and 9. Like there was no running game. And then obviously Zonovan Knight would bounce one for every once in a while. I think he had like 18 carries for 90 yards, something like that. Like he almost averaged 5, which kudos to him because that was not due to the offensive line, minus some McGovern block or 2. That was good. Q was day-to-day. Awesome. That is good news. Yeah, Q had 2 sacks. And I don't know if he gets the full sack for the one. I don't know if Huff was wrapping up around his ankles. I don't know if you guys can tell me. I don't know if that was a half sack. So it was 1.5 or 2 sacks for Q. He had a play where a quarterback draw to Josh Allen on 3rd and long or 2nd and long. He gets held and he still makes the play. Q was dominating until he got hurt, obviously. Okay. That is awesome. It is awesome. O-line was trash. Yep. No way Mike White did break a rib or 2. That's what they said. His bones are fragile. He doesn't have thick bones. What? Like, now you're talking like soft tissue injuries. He injures his shoulder all the time. He injures his legs all the time. His ankles all the time. Sure, but like I'm speaking out of turn here because I don't actually know. He might have broke a rib, and we're questioning the guys. He's fragile. Yeah, sure. Your guys' ribs are just stronger than his, and all these other quarterbacks' ribs are just stronger. Like he'll be wearing plates next week. I don't know if he wears plates or whatever, but. Like a loss. I think it's gonna be like a game, like a coin flip game, like betting wise. Haru Tut, because the Lions are a little bit different on the road. I don't want to look exactly. Like I don't take that verbatim, but I think they are. Free Ty Johnson, and I don't think it's about Ty Johnson. Well, I'm talking about him versus Carter. Ty Johnson had a few more, like that one run that he had against the Bears was better than any run Carter's had. Carter's been bad this year. He's not even been good. He's not even been average. He's been bad this year. It just is what it is. And I love Michael Carter. I love his attitude. I love what he is. But like, and this is like the sinister asshole part of me. But like the last Bills game, he's like, I love big games. I love big games. When he fumbled it, I was like, love big games. I love big games. Hold on to the ball. Let's do that first. Do that. Identification, Mike Whitehead is awesome. Yeah, fix his broken ribs. But we're questioning the thickness of his bones. So I get what you're saying in terms of him scrambling here, Giuliani, but he also made them look worse at times too because he's holding the ball a lot longer than other quarterbacks and not stepping up into the pocket. Times he should have stepped up in the pocket and reverse pivots or runs out of the pocket. So in some instances, yes, but in other instances, no. But I get what you're saying. Dodging tacklers, sure. Thanks for putting me in timeout. Yeah, Eagle. I don't know what's going on here. We're not putting Rich in timeout though. You guys can disagree. We don't have to disagree to the point where we're putting each other in timeout. Unless something's legitimately offensive, you're saying something like racist or something. We're not putting each other in timeout. We could disagree. We could disagree or not without having to put each other in timeout. So I don't know if that happened, but let me know if that happened. We can't be doing that. He's so bad with the Ty John, or just more Bam Knight. But yeah, Carter. How many tackles did he make? Like, so he had a good game against the Ravens where he made a couple guys miss. Decent game versus the Bills. But past that, like, he's not been impressive. Again, like it's if we're really thinking this black and white, it's just I can't even reason with you. Mike White 1-2, scout team Zach Wilson 5-2. Like Zach Wilson did anything versus the Packers or the Broncos. or really the Dolphins or the Steelers for 3/4. Like it's come on. White ain't being a damn Lion. I don't know if this is like a Zach Wilson pro account here, but you cannot watch what Mike White did versus the Bills this game and say I want Zach Wilson, because Zach Wilson did not face nearly the heat that Mike White did in this game versus the Pats, and we put up 4 yards in the second half. Mike White led drives that almost got ended in touchdowns, but either coaching or fumbles or injuries, whatever it may have been, led to the Jets not scoring. Like Zach Wilson did absolutely nothing to prove that he would do even anything remotely close to what the Mike White just did versus the Bills. So like, it's just a simple thing. Mike White, L, 1 win, 1 and 2. Zach Wilson, 5 and 2. Zach Wilson is better. Okay, so every single player. So like I can't even get down to how dumb that is to explain. Like, okay, so the games that they won, McDermott was also a good tackle those games. Like is everybody on the roster good if we win, and everybody on the roster is bad if we lose? Like, is that how simple we're thinking now? So everybody sucked when we lose, everybody's good when we win. Like, is that how we're going to extrapolate that out? Like, is that the thinking here? Is that really how simple-minded some people are? I'm not saying that to you, Jessica. I'm not sure if that's what you're saying here, but if it is, then shame. I can't get down to that level of thinking. And I 100% lose people on here, who I call out for that stuff. But I think that's why some of you guys come here too, because like that, dude. Come on. As important as he is in our offense, Corey Davis is hurt way too often. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Account for commenting to blow it. I think he's underrated by Jets fans when he's on the field, but he's been injured too much. I agree with that. I do. Now, again, this wasn't a soft tissue thing. I'm pretty sure he's a concussion. So it's not like you can necessarily blame him for that, for any need in the back of the head. But yeah, no, he's been too injured. Last game was 12 games. This game is this year out of what, we're 7-6 out of 13 games he's missed. Let's say this game he missed for the most part. Like, he's been out 3 or 4 of them. So it's a good point. And Florida not run the ball enough in the first half caused the loss, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll go back and watch that like to say that definitively. I'm not gonna say I agree on the surface of it, because they would run the ball and they didn't get any yards. And they started to pass the ball more in the second half, and we actually drove. So the Bills crowded the box to run blitz the shit out of us, and we just couldn't get anything going. And is a beast, yeah. Lawson had yeah. Listen, like I think Lawson's been like crunching the pocket a little bit here, but in terms of being worth $15 million a year, you can't justify him. You can't justify that contract with having to pay Q and having to pay a linebacker and a safety and all that stuff less. Yeah, Jessica, you are that this is absurdly bad. Like, Zach Wilson showed you enough in those Pats games and the Broncos game and the Packers game where he'd have won that game for us, right? Zach Wilson would have 100% won this Bills game for us. He really showed it in the second half versus the Pats. He dominated that game. Dominated. I cannot believe the team lost him that game. And we put up a whole 3 points. It was crazy how they lost that game for him. He was hitting open receivers. They dropped the ball. The offensive line was crumbling. There was nobody open. You know, Chris Simmons burner there, I guess. Joe, how do we fix the O-line? Because it's not clearly not good enough. Well, one, injuries that would help to not get brutally injured at tackle. Lake and Tomlinson, you're not going to fix it because he's like $8 million dead next year for like $7 million savings, so he's back. Brown is mid at best, so I think you hope Brown retires. Like, you save that $11 million from his contract. You sign a left tackle. You have AVT come back. Maybe he's a tackle. You bring Herbig back. McGovern back. I think McGovern, Tomlinson, AVT, wherever he is, are going to be starting next year, and you need at least one starting tackle in free agency, I would imagine, and if not, one in the draft as well. I think you can get a better tackle than Brown for $10-11 million in free agency. Becton's most likely a backup, but they got to sign and draft some people. I'm most likely looking at it. You're looking at a tackle in the first 2 rounds at the minimum, and a signing. So, rough. Let's see. Yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, I like. Listen, I'm not going to say we should necessarily cut the guy, but you could tell he doesn't give a fuck. Like, he's there for a paycheck. Yeah, he had fun in the Browns comeback, but sure. Tyler Conklin, TD Flacco didn't yuck it up. He's at least getting a first down run for a little bit, right? But he throws it over his head. Mr. Max just watched Sal's press conference. He goes out of his way to downplay Mike White play. Really? Okay. I watched that. I hope I'm wrong, but the New England game and the Vikings game is the first game where I was like, okay, kind of a team loss there. The OC, some offensive line problems, like in Tomlinson problems, Dwayne Brown the last play, Barrios dropped. Like that's the first like team loss. Like the New England games was like, okay, that was Zach Wilson. Right. So like those games were like, damn it. Like, okay, just the quarterback. But the Vikings game was kind of understandable because it's like a team thing. I don't know. What did Conklin have a big drop this game that I'm misremembering? Did he have a big drop? And even with that, like again, I highlighted on last week's show on the live stream, his drops last week were drops, but they'd also been ridiculous catches because guys had their hands on the ball. No more victory. This game is an embarrassment. Okay, I'm trying to scroll through all this. I'll hit on wherever else I have to hit on. Let's see. Tomlinson's horrible. Our coach is a joke. The only thing I'll disagree with is the four, because listen, when it's 4th and 1, you're at the 5-6 yard line, whatever it was, and you kick a field goal, the chance of them driving the field with like 40, 50 seconds left and scoring a touchdown is very minimal. So at that point, you go for it, you try getting a field goal range, and you kick a field goal there because you're not going to drive down and get another touchdown. So that was really bad to me. That was really bad to me. I wouldn't say win out. I definitely wouldn't say win out. I legitimately think the Chargers can to secure it, yeah. To lock it in, yeah. But I don't think the Chargers are gonna win a lot of games either. Let's see. Yeah, Barrios was awful. Barrios was terrible this game. Carter was terrible. Mike Carter II was terrible. So, what is a B+ to you? Yeah, I like. What is it? I'm not sure if you're saying like. Tell me, Patrick, what plays did he not execute really well this game? Like he came in consistently after getting absolutely destroyed with no time in the pocket and was hitting and was throwing seeds on 3rd and 10 to guys, consistently converting. Not consistently converting. Let's be real here. But like, what throws did he miss? Like, what are you guys watching? I think you see 0 touchdowns. You say bad game from him, but he was not supported by the team at all. Like it's a team game. It's not just a quarterback. So what was so bad to Mike White from this game from you, Patrick? Like so many people, I wish I can bring you on and you can explain to me your thinking here, or maybe you could jump on the film reviews and then we could really talk because what are we watching? Vikings game beat terrible in the red zone. Rhett Clark, okay, was that LaFleur or was that Mike White? Was it LaFleur or was it Mike White? Because I recapped that last week as well. We were talking about them getting into the red zone consistently, and it was end around, no gain. Hand off to Garrett Wilson to a receiver pass, no gain. A fake screen right, then a screen left, no gain. A pump to a screen and then double verticals, no gain because it was covered. So like it was more LaFleur. Like you guys think such black and white stuff, dude. We're bad in the red zone. It's Mike White's fault. We didn't score points this game. It's Mike White's fault. It wasn't the offensive line that got him absolutely obliterated. It wasn't the offensive line. It wasn't Barrios getting hit in the face with a ball and dropping a ball. It wasn't false starts playing the Jets 1st and 15 in Buffalo versus one of the better defenses in the NFL. Like so black and white, guys. Let's advance our thinking a little bit. Like there are 53 guys on the team. There's 11 guys in the field at a time for the Jets, and you can't just blame on the quarterback. God, how do you not watch this game and get impressed with Mike White? Like Jesus, dude. I do appreciate that. Just so black. We lost Mike White. It's his fault. He didn't get absolutely fucking demolished every single play he was in there and throw some seeds into pressure. Blame it on Mike White. Stanley, Mike White is a decent starting quarterback. He is the best QB on the roster. Zach wouldn't have kept us in the game. There's no way Zach would have kept us in this game. There's absolutely no way. He gets hit. He throws one bad ball. He snowballs from there. There's no way. Dude, it was windy and it was raining in this game. Zach Wilson blamed just the wind. Imagine wind and rain. And the guy, how many throws does he bounce? Zach Wilson. He clearly gets in his head, bad footwork, doesn't step up in the pocket. You know how many times he would have reverse pivoted or scrambled and got sacked in this game instead of stepping up into pressure? Zach Wilson eyes dropped consistently this year and took sacks. Mike White stepping up into pressure, getting absolutely Goldberg speared, throwing seeds on 3rd and 10 to guys in tight windows. And we're blaming Mike White? Did you guys watch the offensive line? You guys have to go back and just watch the broadcast and see how much time the guy had. We're blaming Mike White. Come on. We lost 4 of our last 6. I don't know if this is a Zach Wilson thing, but again, Zach Wilson, he's 5-2, so he's better than Mike White. Let's think. Okay. Zach Wilson is 5-2. Aaron Rodgers is not 5-2. Zach Wilson is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. The Jets have a better record right now, I believe, than the Buccaneers. He's better than Tom Brady as well. Right? Like if we're gonna be that black and white, guys, we could do dumb shit. I'll be dumb. I'll be real dumb. If you have a better record, that quarterback for the better team is better. Trent Dilfer was better than Dan Marino, whoever's in the fucking league that year. I mean, no, I don't think he's in the league in 2000. He might have been, but come on. Jimmy G, or no, sorry. Well, did Jimmy G get farther than Patrick Mahomes in some Super Bowls? Probably, right? He's Jimmy G that year better than Patrick Mahomes, right? Laken Tomlinson, the Jets won that game. Laken Tomlinson was good that game. Connor McDermott, he wasn't bad that game. The Jets won. Connor McDermott won that game. God, man. Be behind a keyboard. Some of the dumb shit you could say. Like you guys, some people gotta think before they type. Like I'm calling a lot of people out here, but dude, you cannot watch this game and say Mike White lost us this game. That is absurd. Absurd. Well, I gotta. God, did Adams replace Joyner? He was in at least 2 or 3 plays, right, Kevin? And the one play had a really nice pass breakup. And I'll be fine with that because Joyner is god awful. He's god awful. He's not here next year. If he is, that's a problem. Garrett Wilson, the truth. Fuck yeah, he has sneakers and boots. He is for sure. Let's see. Let's just hammer this point home. NFL standings. I just want to see something here. Oh, also, I think Zach Wilson he has a better record than Herbert this year in terms of win percentage. He's better than Herbert, right? He's better than Herbert. Like what? Who else has a better record then? Kyler Murray's 4-8. Zach Wilson's better than Kyler Murray. Zach Wilson's better than Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson's better than Tom Brady. That's about it, right? Come on, guys. Wins, losses. No touchdowns, 0 touchdowns. No touchdowns. No bad game. Yes. And listen, I'm not even advocating for him to be the quarterback of the future, but you cannot blame this game on Mike White. Now we can have a little bit of a different opinion of saying, okay, this is a franchise quarterback level game, or this is just a decent game for a quarterback. Okay, I will level with you there. We can have a conversation, but to blame this game on Mike White, we are not in the same stratosphere of I can't level with you. I think if we're close, we can level, but that's not. I don't know. I don't know if there's usual blasphemy in that stream, but yeah, that's come on, man. Burrow take them hits, took his team to the Super Bowl. All right. Okay. White got hit 8 times. That seems like a very low number. I don't know. I think you're wrong on that one, my friend, because he got sacked 3 times in the first. Let me find that stat. In the first half. I think I put it on the offensive line. On the first half, they led 3 sacks, 12 pressures on 16 dropbacks. He got speared at least 3 times. He got sacked 3 times in the first half. So he only got hit another 2 times in that. I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's see. Butterfingers, Barrios, and Conklin help. We want Rutgers ASAP. I don't know what that means. Okay. I'm not gonna highlight that one. That one's funny though. Hold on. I'm moving down. Actually, I'm not close to call up in the chat. I got to keep going. The one play I decided to focus on Whitehead for some reason. They had him covering Diggs. The angle he took was brutal. Oh, we were talking about the play where he drives down on a Diggs route, not on a Diggs route, on a Diggs route over the middle, focuses on the quarterback, doesn't take a proper angle. Diggs cuts outside and gets like 20, 30 yards. Whitehead is also bad. Joe, you got to root for. No, you don't. No, I'm sorry. I'm rooting for the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 8-4. Are they 8-4? They're 8-4. The Jets are 7-6. Like, yeah, cool. We might be able to win 3 more games, and that game could be to knock the Dolphins out. Cool. That is very, very. That's not even half, like, glass half full. That's like glass 80% full. I much rather the Chargers lose and the Jets just get in the 7th seed, or at least the 6th seed. But the Dolphins, they're 8-4. The Chargers 6-6. We're competing with the Chargers for the 7th spot right now. Much more than competing with the Dolphins for a higher seed, in my opinion. Tomlinson and Matt Milano should be arrested. Let's see. Jessica, you've been here a lot. This is. I don't remember you being this outlandish, man. Thank you. Maybe I'm emotional as well. Mike is kind of fragile, Joe. Yes. All quarterbacks in the NFL can get speared and just be fine. Weather matters now. Larry, you're one of the dumbasses in this one too. Weather matters at times, but you can't blame the Pats game on the weather. You can't blame the weather for 4 yards. Now, can weather factor in when there's 15-mile-per-hour gusts and wetness? Sure. But if you're blaming the weather like Zach Wilson on the Pats game, then you're just as lost as Jets gang is this stream. Weather does matter. You can't blame taking piss poor reads and not throwing balls to wide open out routes because of the weather. The weather didn't affect him having terrible reads and not being able to step up in the pocket. Weather can affect the ball. It could sail on you. The Ty Johnson throw on a wheel route that game, yeah, the weather could have affected that. Maybe the ball vertical to Mims or whatever could have affected that. Yeah, sure. And I'll factor that in. But to say I didn't throw a wide open route because of the weather is idiotic. Weather does matter. Like, I wouldn't come out after a loss and putting up 4 yards in a game and 3 points and say, oh, well, you guys don't understand the weather. Does it matter, though? Yes. It's not black and white, but you can't, not blaming on that. No, the offense takes no fault, and the weather was bad. Sil, did Johnson play a snap today? I didn't see him. I don't know. Joe, you can't say he can't be the starter next year anymore? For Mike White, I think there's an argument either way. Because the thing is you're committing to Mike White for a Super Bowl run. It's not, oh, we're committing to him. We're a rebuilding team. We could reassess. We could draft a quarterback next year. It's no, he's the quarterback who's going to lead us to a Super Bowl, or at least lead us, or be under center in a Super Bowl game. So it's very, very high stakes. We're Jets of the past when they're 4-8, 4-9. Then you could say, yeah, he's a starter because we can evaluate and see where we're going forward. But you have to be ready to commit to him, saying, okay, this is the guy that I'll be ready to see make a playoff run. Am I at that point yet? No, I'm not. But yeah. So Carl Lawson is non-existent. Yeah, and like the thing with Lawson is too, Lou. Couple of the last games, the Bears game he played against a backup left tackle. The Vikings game he played up against a backup left tackle. And he had a sack in the Vikings game, but he does not make consistent enough of an impact to get $15 million a year. There's no way. Oh, we're talking about Ruckert. Yeah, no, that's a leap. That's a leap, Tony. Ruckert had no development in terms, well, not no development. He wasn't really a primary passing option at Ohio State. He's a long way to go in terms of passing threat. Carter is making my eyes bleed. Yeah. Joe need to shave that Bush League goatees. Goatees. We're taking, okay. I don't know if we're taking personal shots now, but okay. Tony, a green photo, Bush League goatee, tears. I don't know, but yeah. Sorry, Tony. I'm sure your goatee is amazing. You're awesome. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, we're really taking like, I don't know where the dysfunction comes in here, Tony. You're talking shit, but one, we don't know what you look like, and you're taking shots behind a keyboard. Like, that's the ultimate keyboard warrior. You must be awesome. Like, you must be a Navy SEAL dope ass guy sitting there watching me on YouTube. Like, log the fuck off. Usually don't take shots, but that shot, like, okay, cool, dude. I'm sure you're awesome. Yeah, maybe a ban. I've never seen Tony talk shit though. I don't know what that was about. Lawson's wildly inconsistent. Yeah, let's keep going. Imagine having a Becton. Yeah, well, imagine being Beck. That's a reach. The guy's been healthy in 3 years. So, yeah, Tony, you're gonna get blocked taking shots. I look like I've been on a desert for 4 months. Yeah, no, I have a goatee. It's No Shave November. We're actually, Tony, we're raising money for testicular cancer, so we're not shaving at work. So, that's why I have facial hair. You fucking asshole. Like. Behind a keyboard with it. We're not even a profile picture, just a green thing. That's who we're taking shots. Like, let's see a photo of you. Fucking cheese, you have cheesy little dust on your chest, probably fat ass. Come on, bro. All right, like, I'm definitely losing some people here, but like that's just so unnecessary. Basing football takes off of a goatee. Come on. There's no way to evaluate how Mike White played today that can see that he was problematic. Critical thinking is yeah. Yep. Joe, I can't handle it either, man. Just know that most of us are reasonable. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'll take the heat. It's okay. We're like, apparently we're all fucking crazy after a loss here. Like we have there's very low reasonable takes here. Goatsy. Yeah. 20 the jackass. He's probably model. He's probably good. He's probably a good looking guy. Probably a good looking guy. Sitting there, 20 BMI. Can't get a hard on for his wife. He hates somebody. He hates somebody in his life that he has to comment shit like that on a stream. Like, who the fuck are you? He's a douchebag. All right. Let's see if there's any other notes I have. Carter beat third. Jets hurt themselves. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna. I don't know. If you have any other stuff you want to drop in there, I'm gonna read over my notes really quickly. But I'm starting to call some people out, like Jets Gang and Tony and whoever else in here. But like, we're taking shots at a goatee on a stream when you're behind a keyboard. Like, that's the ultimate like scumbag pansy ass move. Like that's just so pansy, dude. So whatever. Like there's no way that the guy would walk up to me in a parking lot and say, "Dude, your goatee looks like shit." It's like, okay, tough guy behind a keyboard. That's like that is a problem with 2022. Tony G. So are you going to the Lions game, Joe? Yes, I am. Yoshi, I will be there. J1, be there. I'm sure Tony's gonna come to J1. We'll see what he's about. Like, Tony, you're fat. Your wife is disgusting. You have a shit job. Like, is that what I'm gonna say? Come on, bro. Just kidding. Appreciate that, Rich. Any update on Fant? He came back into the game, right? He came back into the game, so he shouldn't be too hurt. But then again, like Corey Davis sprained his ankle and was going to come back into the game. And people were like crazy about that. Like, oh, Corey Davis sprained his ankle, but he's out for 3 weeks. How could he have come back? How did they handle that injury? If you play like especially basketball players, you can sprain an ankle and then come back into that game because you don't necessarily feel it, and the swelling goes up at nighttime or the next day, and then you can't, and then it's an injury. But like, you can come back and play on a sprained ankle. Best players do it all the time. So yeah, Kevin, I love the direction of this team. I don't love the direction of the last 4. 1 and 3. They need to win the next couple of games, and I'll love it. But in general, yes, I'm Yoshi's coming. Cool. So let's any other stuff, drop it, and then I'll recap some of the other stuff. I talked about Mike White a lot. Talked about Allen, a late hit. I don't know what that is. Right. Zymonite, obviously good game, good run. Michael Carter put obviously bad in here. Running game sucked. A couple big runs, but other than that, they're consistently getting a yard or two. It was bad. Wilson was obviously very, very good in this game. Barrios was bad. Mims body catching everything again. But offensive line pass bro was brutal early. Obviously, I could adjust that to the entire game. The first half, the amount of pressures they allowed, again, 12 pressures on 16 dropback is like a historical number. The defensive line was good this game. Huff had a sack, was held at least 2 or 3 times that weren't called. Q had a tackle and that he was held on. He had 2 sacks or a sack and a half. Hopefully his injury is not long. Rankins had a sack. JJ had a block punt, wishing that just rolled into the back of the end zone very slowly, and he picked it up to scoop and score. That would have been a lot nicer, but is what it is. Linebackers, Mosley, the jump on 4th and 1 was absolutely brutal. Bills on their own 40. That's a mistake you cannot make as a 8-9 year veteran. Quincy had a few nice hits in this game. The one play that frustrated me with Quincy Williams was, there's a play, it's like 3rd and 15, and Josh Allen is known to scramble, and Quincy is very, very late to adjust to Josh Allen scrambling. So that was a frustrating game from or at least play from Quincy there that I noted down. Cornerbacks, they were solid. Sauce had that PD breakup. He had a couple of I don't think he's really targeted much other than that. So Sauce had a good game. Reed had a solid game. Michael Carter II got abused in the slot. Is what it is. Michael LaFleur. Again, let's stop going to Barrios on third downs, on fourth downs, in big spots. The ISO comeback to Uzama, if that's exactly what it was. Not a big fan of that because he's not a great route runner. Brandon Mann was terrible. Just no hang time. Can't pin guys consistently. It's just not good. So let's see. So in here, Tony's jealous. He doesn't understand basic football and can't comprehend what you're talking about, Joe. It's just like you could think it, like if you really like, oh, that goatee sucks. But like the fact that you're gonna type that and send that, like when you're behind a keyboard and nobody is here to talk to Tony or knows what Tony looks like. Like I hope the dude is a stud who runs marathons, has a great wife, great house, great kid, great kids. But like my thinking, like you comment that stuff, like you're probably, you're fucking struggling on welfare with a shit job and nobody likes you. And that's how you get a rise out of people. Like getting a rise out of people like me on a live stream who has like 100 people in here is like, that's your excitement of your day, is to type that shit. Like I automatically know what kind of person you are. Sorry, like, people who have good lives don't send messages like that. So I'm cool to lose Tony as a follower. Adios, Tony. See ya. Now he'll create another account and spam chat another time and leave bad reviews and all that shit. But who cares? Like we got to call out people like that. Like we're better than that. I feel like if they keep playing this well against the less elite teams, we will look really good the next few, minus the offensive line. Yeah, like I'm expecting if Mike White plays like he did this game against the Lions, we win that game. If the defense plays like they did, they win that game. Minus again, Michael Carter II. But other than that, on defense, like okay, obviously a couple plays from Mosley, a couple plays from Quincy, safeties. Like, but overall, they were solid today versus the Bills. The defense, like I'm not gonna kill them. They should. I think they're the better team than the Lions. The Lions are shrieking though, and the Jets are kind of obviously on the downtrend a little bit. So it's a huge game though. You don't win next week, I think your playoff chances are dramatically dropped. And I would say next week, if you lose, I would say they're probably not going to make it. Where if they win next week, you're more near 50%. So looking forward to Thursday's show. Thanks for doing the show. Tony suck one, bro. Yeah, it's like stupid. Joe, can we get out of Lawson's contract next year? Yeah. Most of his contract, if not all of his contract, we can escape from without having like any dead money. Don't quote me on that, but it's near all of it we could save. So yeah. Peter Yeti just find a way to get into the playoffs. I think we can go on a run if we can make it. Yeah, listen, like good defense, good running game with Zonovan Knight, and hopefully the offensive line, gets a little bit more chemistry wherever it may be. But yeah, you never know. Like, listen, I'm not saying we're the Bengals of last year, but like any team can make a run. Any team can make a run, just get there. Mosley made plays though. He did. He did. Like he had the tackle on Josh Allen, took on a block. He had another couple of plays, but then he also has that 4th and 1 play offsets pretty much anything positive he did for me. Like maybe it's a wash where it's not a good game, it's not a bad game necessarily. Like if you want to reach for that, but it's not that play is inexcusable. You can't be on the Bills 40 and jump on 4th and 1 when that's what they're trying to do. They consistently do it. They consistently did this game. You try to get guys to jump. So, yeah, I agree with this jet up Buttercup. I would like to see Zach start to dress up, at least at this point, especially with him injured. Like I'm not saying that Flacco is necessarily like this isn't going to take either positive. Like people are going to overreact to this regardless. Like I'm not saying Zach Wilson is always a better quarterback, let's say, than Joe Flacco. Like Joe Flacco in some instances might give a better shot to win. Like that Browns comeback, okay, awesome. But I rather have Zach Wilson playing than Joe Flacco at least. So, hey Joe, a million more times of football. Well, he got called for 2 holds, right? So that's obviously very bad. And then the play where he got beat by Diggs, like it's Diggs in the slot, and Diggs, the one play he slipped, right? So like you're not going to kill him for a slip, but he has been getting beat a good amount on 3rd down this year. Like I don't want to necessarily like say he's not a bad player. He's still a solid slot corner, but when you have games where you have two holding calls on, maybe they were both 3rd downs. I know at least one of them was. It's obviously not a good game, right? So, yeah, man needs to go. Man, I rather have a guy who's like Thomas Morstead, and when Morstead was here, Morstead was consistently kicking the ball 45, 50 yards, pinning guys inside the 10. He wasn't great. He was solid, but I'd rather have a guy who's consistently average than a guy who is really good one play and terrible the next play. Like that's what Ben is. So yeah, epic level trolling. Sorry, like that's people like that. Like you gotta kill it. We're still talking about Tony. He deserved 2 minutes. So black spot is growing and consume the earth. That's great. That's great. Yes, I'm sorry. I can get frustrated as well. I am a human. Jets have to make football interesting again. It's not like they haven't. This game was interesting. You're driving. It's 21-9. They're on like the 30-yard line. With 4 minutes left. You have the ball down 8 points in this game. Like it's not like it wasn't interesting. It's not like last week wasn't interesting. We're not getting blown out, but they need to close these games out. Like the Pats game, punt return, getting into the red zone, 1 for 6 versus the Vikings. Like they have to play better football. No need, Murdoch. No need. Appreciate that. Rich, Jets are toast. Okay. Afram cut Lawson next year, only 300. Yeah. I agree with you, Afram, which by the way, I haven't seen you in a little bit. Hello to you. I would say you get rid of him next year. I don't think you can't justify. Now, do I want Lawson on the team? Like, is he a player who's a startable tackle or defensive end? Sure, but do I want to pay a guy $15 million who might be worth 8 or 9? No. And obviously, it's not like the Jets have a ton of cap room to play with. They need, both their linebackers are in free agency. Their starting center is in free agency. Their one starting safety is going to hit free agency, and hopefully pray to God he's not resigned because Joyner is trash. So they need the cap space. It's not like, oh well, we don't have anybody to pay. Like they're starting to pay guys now because they've been drafting better. So I'm start talking about Steve soon. Joe, would you agree our primary needs next year would bolster the O-line, free safety line? Yeah, 100%. Top 3 easily. Chrono. Number 1, 2, and 3 in that order. I would say they'll probably bring Quincy back. I'm not sure about Quan. We'll see what happens with Quan. But I would imagine Quincy's back. But am I necessarily? I think you can get by with him as a starter. I don't think he's a solid starter. He's high variance too. One good play, one pretty bad play. So, isn't it Papa Doc? Papa Doc isn't it Papa Doc? It isn't Papa Doc. Go back across 8 Mile. You're making an 8 Mile M&M reference, but I'm not sure exactly. I think it's Papa Doc, though. I don't know if it's Papa Dot. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. Gregory Richard had a field day against us today. Yeah, the defensive Ed Oliver had a couple of good plays. He did. Didn't Shaq Lawson get a hit there too? I think everybody got a hit versus Mike White this game. I really was he really only hit 8 times. If he wasn't hit 8 times, he might have been hit only 8 times, but he got pressured almost every single play. So and they held a lot. I hope they bring Quan back for a reasonable contract. What's a reasonable contract? 2 years. Jeez, he's getting paid $1.5 million this year. 2 years, $7 million. Like, would you guys be willing to bring Quan back for that? But the Jets don't. He's not on the field all the time. If Quincy's on the field, it's like, how much are you paying him? Like Corey Davis. This is one that's an interesting kind of discussion after him because it's like you have a guy who I think is solid when he's on the field, minus the last couple of weeks, all these penalties and shit, which is driving me crazy. But who are you replacing him with? That's the problem, because when he's healthy, he's worth $10 million. But he's not been healthy. So I understand the argument that he's injured often, and I understand that he had a holding last week. I understand that he had a false start last week, a false start this week. He's been the pre-snap penalties have been frustrating, but he is a solid receiver, and I think he's worth the price when he's on the field. Now, who are you going to replace him with for $10 million? Like Zay Jones got what? How much did he get paid from the Jaguars this year? 11 million. Zay Jones. I'm taking Corey all day over that, but again, the injury thing, I get that. Line's gonna be tough. Yep. Oh, Pop. Are you talking to him, Papa A. Dot? I thought you were talking about Papa Doc from 8 Mile. I might be confused here. I don't know. Can we add the Niners to our rooting guide because fuck Tom Brady forever? No. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Daniel Murphy. Okay, I'm gonna close out. I apologize for losing my cool a little bit to Jets. Jets gang and Tony, but it is what it is. It's just I hate that shit. But nonetheless, appreciate you guys, and I will see you Thursday for the Thursday stream. Frustrating loss is what it is. Let's win 3 of the next 4, and I'll have to worry about shitty games like this. Shaming the offensive line, Michael Carter's, couple coaching decisions, but at the end of the day, will live 3 out of 4, and let's make the playoffs.